Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. We want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. Great audio, video, articles, and so much more. Also, continuing my conversation with Matt Towery, author of the outstanding book, News Vesting, which I consider must reading. Stop being victimized by your portfolio. Own your financial future by reading books like this. I'm telling you, it's very important to be educated. If the only one that's educated is your advisor and not you, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for disappointment. So, Matt, when did you begin to develop this linkage, if you will, between the financial world and the events that drives it?
Well, I'll tell you how it really happened. About 3.5 years ago, I took over my family's investment fund that had existed for quite some time, but had not really been managed very much. And we were pretty heavy in cash. And if you can imagine, during that time period, the market was just going up and up. I mean, it was on a tear. And so if you're sitting in a fund or a partnership that's sitting on a lot of cash, and you're trying to get into the market and other investments, you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I'm going to get this thing at the very top, and then it's going to all fall below me, and I'm going to be sorry I ever did it. So I had to start riding these little waves of moments when individual stocks or sectors would drop because of news events, or the market might decline a little bit overall, and you could catch a good company that you knew was being punished unfairly because all boats were going down. But those were in little bitty drifts. So I had to turn to news vesting because I couldn't think of any other way that I could dollar average my way into the market and not just reach it at a crest. So that's how I started, and it started working out pretty well. I'm not a day trader. I'm not a swing trader, but I will do that if I feel like I get into something that the news is driving, and I know that what I think the outcome is going to be using my system. And that's what I did. And then in the last year, I basically said, gosh, this is working so well, I'm going to chronicle this. And the book chronicles the stocks that I invested in and why I invested in them and how I got in and out or held. A lot of them I'm still holding. But the reasoning behind it was all driven by news, and all news that I knew about long before I saw it as a headline, in major daily newspapers or on the TV networks. I always say if the news hits the TV networks and you're just now beginning to react to it, don't even bother,
right,
because you've missed the boat.
You've missed it, yeah, and you might make your situation worse, in fact. So
right.
You actually have an ongoing service, though. Talk a little bit about that beyond the book.
Well, we're developing. It's not really up yet. One of the things in polling, there aren't a lot of polls out there that or surveys that people can go to. There are some, of course, of hedge funds, but of retail investors to see where they're going, what direction, and how they feel about the market. And so we're developing a whole new system based on the same sort of polling that we do for television networks and newspapers for investors. It's in its early stages, beta stages. It's not out quite yet, but we're going to begin doing it probably, we think, this summer. I wish we had it up now, but the problem is you can't hold these presidential elections for these networks and newspapers and devote that much attention and also at the same time really give justice to what we really want to do, which is the news vesting side, and really what I'm going to devote the rest of my career to, because I enjoy finance so much more than I do politics.
Yeah. Well, and I hope you give me a free subscription to that service when that happens.
Oh, you got it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely want to be well-read and well-versed, and I think that you can help us do that. Newsvesting.com. And, I kind of went over the top, and how I've recommended you here today. I want everyone to know we have no fiduciary relationship whatsoever.
No.
I'm a fan of the book. I love the book. Although you and I might have a conversation about having a fiduciary relationship. We might do that in the future. But as of today, at the time of the show, I have no financial relationship with Matt. I just love the book, and it's really like about time. And it's a book I've been tempted to write for years and never got around to it. So props to you, Matt, for doing it.
Well, you probably could have done a better job of it, but people go to Amazon.com, get News Vesting, read it, and then tell us what you think, because certainly we want the input, too, as we move forward.
Newsvesting.com. Don't be a fool. Read that book. I'm glad I did. All right. Thanks so much, Matt.
Great. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, that wraps it up. I do want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. Best content here shows up over there. Radio listeners, you can always stay tuned for more right after this on The Price of Business.